All right now everybody, welcome back. It's another Firewood news update. Now there is a ton of news out there. I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as possible, but all of a sudden there has been a deluge of news. There's always the normal firewood cutting permits and all that stuff going on at the parks around the country. There's been a lot of firewood banks that have sprung up for free firewood for disadvantaged people, veterans, that type of thing. So check your own local municipality, your own local city for all of that news. We're going to get moving on. I'm going to try to get through this. There's a lot of news to cover here. First off, I just want to mention that Walmart is selling a nice Fire Beauty log tote for about $14. Now, that's just like this log tote right here, and it has the sides on it. I really like the sides because firewood is quite messy and it collects a lot of debris. There's actually some debris in this bag right now, and that's what I use. It's a nice thing, nice lined carrier to bring your wood inside. Keeps some of the mess out because you know it's messy. So I'll put a link in the description if you want to check out that wood carrier. Now's a good time to re-up and buy a new one. They got one on sale. A little less messy than the ones that are just like a strap of leather and doesn't have ends, so all the stuff goes falling out. All right. Next, in urgent news here, as of I think December 5th, under President Trump, the Interior Department has rolled out a $1 for one tree program, and that's for Christmas trees, and it's going to unleash all kinds of savings on people across the country now harvesting Christmas trees. And you can also harvest a cord of firewood for $1. Now this is up to 3 Christmas trees, and you can get up to 10 cords of firewood for $1 a cord, I believe that is. And that's going to help thin out hazardous fuel in areas of the forest that have a bunch of fuel wood laying all over, trashing it up. President Trump's been trying to do that to eliminate wildfire risk. This is going to run through January 31st. So December 5th through January 31st of 2026, this program will be running, and it's going to have some pretty substantial savings. Potentially have up to about $10 million in economic relief for families and households across the country now. So go ahead and look into that. Get your $1 Christmas tree here and $1 a cord for cutting it. That's a pretty good deal. Now, Nevada, taking that a step further, just after that was released, there was a news bulletin released, I think also on December 5th. And Nevada is offering free Christmas trees and firewood permits. The Bureau of Land Management is who is handling all of this now, and for whatever reason in Nevada, they went ahead and said, let's just make it free. So they must have a lot of fuel wood and hazardous wood on the forests out there, just a dry tinderbox ready to spark up on them out there. So that's what they're doing in Nevada, free. And moving along in St. Louis, they are offering free firewood also to residents. Now this started back in November, but the Department of Parks has 3 different locations around the St. Louis area where you can go and pick up free wood. Now, the wood is not guaranteed every day. The species, the type, the size, the diameter, none of that is guaranteed because it comes from the Park Service's trimming of the parklands and trimming along roads and city properties and that type of thing. So when it's available, they take it to these locations and they just dump it in the afternoon every day when they're done working. So if you go and there's wood there, you're welcome to have it. And that's going to run through probably about March of 2026. And that may be an ongoing program each winter. So look into that if you're in the St. Louis area. A lot of free wood from their park services out there. So now, as of November 21st out in California, the Bureau of Land Management out there has lifted the campfire restrictions in the Southern California districts. You can now have campfires again from the seasonal burn bans and everything, but you are required to have a permit now for these campfires, and you can obtain those online. You want to get those permits at readyforwildfire.org. Readyforwildfire.org. Now it says that they're free, but you have to get a permit. So you need a permit for campfires, barbecues, gas stoves inside the Bureau of Land Management lands. And this is also happening up in the San Francisco Bay Area. They have lifted their campfire restrictions. See the same website, readyforwildfire.org, to get your permits up there in the San Francisco area. They're easing the burn restrictions, seasonal restrictions. You can start burning that wood, burn it up out there in California. So that's good news out there for the firewood. Over on the other side of the country, New York is re-emphasizing their 50-mile firewood law. You can only move firewood up to 50 miles from its source, and that's to help control invasive species, emerald ash borer, all that stuff. So unless it is heat treated, you cannot move firewood more than 50 miles in the state of New York. A little reminder there. Okay, now moving across the pond over to UK. We've talked about this before now with all these wood boilers and all the environmental restrictions and the smoke particulate regulations and all these managed towns and everything's in UK. They're offering you a $1,000 fine if you burn improper wood. They're issuing fines now if your wood is inappropriate, which means the moisture content is over 20%. So let me explain this a little bit. In 2021, we mentioned the government has banned the sale of house coals and wet wood. Wood must be certified ready to burn, and it has to be on the DEFRA authorized fuel list in smoke-controlled areas. Now, the fines in these areas start at 175 pounds, and they reach up to 300 pounds. The 1,000-pound fine comes if you burn unauthorized fuel in a non-DEFRA exempt appliance. You can get a $1,000 fine for that. Now, if you get repeat violations of that, you're going to be taken to court, and the fines can reach up to 5,000 pounds. So I hope you took that all in. They have regulations over there regarding the amount of particulate matter per hour of smoke that can be released, and I don't know who monitors that, but somebody drives around and will report you or whatever if there's a bunch of smoke pouring out of your house, I guess. So watch that in the UK. Got fines happening over there. They are following up with this. Moving to South Africa now. The Australia black wattle tree has become a invasive species in South Africa. Now, these trees use up to 4 times the amount of water as the native trees in Africa, and they are spreading like crazy, taking over the native crops, vegetation, and they're just causing all kinds of problems out there. They came over there in 1871, and they're choking out all the native stuff, like I said. But the good news is people are using them to burn them up for fuel wood. So they're already having efforts to eradicate these things. It's not a problem to cut them down and burn them. And rural Africa, as you can imagine, they need a lot of fuel wood, cook on, heat their homes, all that. So these invasive trees are prime low-hanging fruit to do that. So that's the good news. They're trying to eradicate them. I just say burn them up as much as you can over there. So also in Africa, what we're seeing here is that donkeys are disappearing, and these donkeys are pack animals. They carry firewood to market and different goods and things. So these donkeys are disappearing due to the Chinese demand for their hides. So in China, they're taking these hides and they're boiling them down into a gelatin-like substance, and that's called Ejao. I'm not sure how to say that. Ejao. It's Ejao. I might put that on the screen there so you can try to pronounce that. Ejao. And that is used in traditional Chinese medicine. Now, there's no evidence to support any results from this medicine, but it's supposed to help with cardiovascular issues, reverses aging, prevents miscarriages. Now, they ground it up into a powder, pills, or a liquid. They put it in their food. Now, China, it used to have 11 million donkeys, which was the world's largest population of donkeys, and now they're saying, according to estimates, that their donkey population is down to about 3 million. So they've moved to Africa, and Africa has 2/3 of the world population of donkeys. Now, people are reporting these things in Africa stolen. Farmers are coming out and finding carcasses on the ground, and they've been peeled and skinned, and they're taking the skins and selling them at market to these Chinese consumers. There's a market in Kenya where they went and visited, and there was hundreds of donkey hides, and they were all being reserved for some Chinese buyer that was coming in and buying them in Kenya. And there is other countries in Africa that have started to ban the sale of donkeys and the export of their hides and the slaughtering of donkeys. So there is efforts to eradicate this or to stop this from happening over there, but it's not everywhere. And China is looking to buy them donkeys up to make that good traditional medicine. So that's going on in Africa. And we're going to move back over here into the United States now. In Vermont, the libraries are now lending moisture meters to people so they can test their firewood. So this is sponsored by the Vermont Department of Libraries and DEC's Air Quality and Climate Division. So go check out your local library if you want to rent a moisture meter and test your firewood, or trying to help people burn up the good kind of wood there. So we have quite a bit of news coming out of Russia now, and hopefully I can get through this without confusing it all too much, but they're having a firewood shortage in Russia, and the prices are rising and soaring, and this has been going on for quite some time, over a decade, but the war with Ukraine is complicating this as firewood is being sent to the front lines for troops. And there's also a comprehensive set of rules and regulations for the forestry industry in Russia that deals with the transport of wood and the sale of wood. It's made firewood unprofitable and very difficult to do. And also in occupied regions like Crimea, the Russians apparently and their collaborators have launched a massive destruction of the forest, cutting down hundreds of oak trees and hornbeams, and they're developing that land into elite developments and plots of land to develop it. So all of this stuff with the war and the forestry regulations and everything over there is causing the firewood market to soar. Prices are flying, and it's hard to get your hands on that good burning wood, especially in these border towns where the front lines are and that type of thing. So, for example, in Kharkiv, Russian forces are now hiding mines, explosive devices inside firewood logs. So they have a detonator that can trigger an explosion whenever somebody comes, a civilian comes and picks that up and tries to carry that log home to heat up their stove. It can get blown up on them there. So that's going on in Kharkiv. And also in Kharkiv, they had a Russian drone that killed 2 men while they were loading firewood into their truck. Now, apparently this was 2 civilians, and they were transferring wood from one truck to the other, and a drone came over and blew those 2 gentlemen up. So it's apparently a pretty rough situation over there in Russia and along the front lines, and in these occupied towns and territories where the troops are. Even the civilians are being targeted for military actions if they don't evacuate and that type of thing, so it's really complicating the situation over there. Now, the final thing that we're going to talk about here is in North Korea, they're having these massive reforestation efforts every year. They send people out and happily plant trees throughout the countryside, and then they're all disappearing again for firewood and getting burned up for fuel wood, apparently. So every year they tout the success of this program, the government, and how great it is and how they're reestablishing forests and sending all these people out and spending money and resources to plant all these trees, and then they're always gone again, and they keep doing it every year. So people are getting frustrated with the program, not sure what's going on there. So that's about it for this firewood news update. I tried to move along at a pretty brisk pace there. There was a lot of news to cover, and we will be back at you probably once a month or so with the latest firewood news. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.